I quickly just want to add an introduction about the video you're about to watch. This is a longer form video of us prompting and vibe coding an entire startup for my friend of Saiton. We actually did it, so definitely stay to the end to watch it. We have chapter notes inside the description to jump around if you're interested. But if you wanted to watch the result of this video, definitely check out this video. But that's the actual result of this. So we actually did a partnership with Bolt.new, and we'll hopefully do like a reality show. In the future, it'll be longer form, just looking really sourcing sponsors for that at the moment. With that said, just want to give that commentary so that way what you're getting into, because this is not quite the sort of YouTube clickbait stuff. So with that, enjoy. We got 90 minutes, no kids, nothing else. We're about to like make you $100 million. This is more of tell us where you want to be and let's get you there. So that's the goal. So no guarantee that I can take you along the entire journey, but I can at least start this with you and we can have a product that you're proud of and that you can actually use and go sell, like literally in 90 minutes. And I played around with the designs already and I've already got a version up, but we're going to start it from scratch because I got to do it with all my free plans and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Any questions?
No questions at the moment. I have a few of the things you told me to have open. So I have a Netlify open, Supabase, and a few others. So if you need me to open something, just let me know. Or should I open them right now?
I think we'll probably be good because I'll probably end up shipping it to myself and then we'll transfer everything to you. But I wanted to make sure you had connections out of it in case we hit a limit. It was like, okay, I'll need to get you to sign up for this. So just have you pre-sign up to everything we're about to do.
Okay.
And then, sorry, do you hear my kids in the background?
A little bit.
Okay. Anyway, it'll be fine. So like we might use this, but we also might not. That's the other thing. But you want to prepare for in the event that everything fails and then we need to use it, we'll just act like we need to use it.
All right.
Cool. And then I'm going to share my screen, which we're going to capture this separate. So I'm going to pull up Bolt.new, Plark, Inc. Which you said you built a Squarespace. That's what you use for that thing?
WordPress.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Not a sponsor. Neither is Subway, but I'm wearing a Subway hat. All right. Cool. So the challenge is I don't know if this is going to be usable, but I think if we get the highest resolution screen capture of this window, we'll do all. Cool. So you can see that right there.
I can.
So this would be like the setup in the video, just for Chris, your purpose. I don't know if we need to show us, but sorry, I'm going to talk out loud because I'm going to have to talk to Chris because he actually can't make it right now. But I imagine there's like an intro that Chris started, which was, I actually liked it. So the thought is we end up starting the show of, my name's bdougie. Man, how in the world? I'm going to turn off do not disturb. Sorry, I'm getting pinged like nonstop. I've got to get on a plane to London on Sunday. So everyone's hit me up with more stuff to do. Cool.
Do you want me to open the Plark script? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no. I was just going to talk through the experience. Okay. So basically the script is we're going to walk through. I'm just basically introducing myself. Like, hey, I've been talking to experts. I learned out the secret sauce and it's going to be a montage of me talking to them, finding out how they've been successful. But I thought we're in the shadows of San Francisco. There's a city called Richmond, which you're from. And that's the angle I'm going at with this. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to have like questions for you in 2 weeks, like when we do the fireside chat. I thought, tell me about your upbringing. Most of that will get cut, but there might be snippets that we end up using. What was it like growing up in Silicon Valley? Blah, blah, blah. So give me the pitch of Plark.
Yeah, so Plark is the place that parents can go to book any type of workplace space. So the idea behind it is you're a parent and you're trying to work but you have your child. So you need a space where they can play, they can learn, they can grow, but then you can also have Wi-Fi, a closet, or a booth somewhere to make phone calls and get some work done. So the idea is play plus work, smash those two words together and came up with Plark.
Excellent. Yeah. And so why is this important to you?
It's important to me because I am a parent. I have 4 kids and every day I'm traveling around inside the San Francisco Bay Area talking to different businesses, and I pop into co-working spaces maybe 3 to 4 different times a week. Stay there for around 3 to 4 hours at a time. And I have memberships with technically 3 different co-working spaces throughout the San Francisco Bay Area, but none of them have places for my kids. So I can't bring them with me. That's when I realized that there's a problem to be solved and started getting to work.
Cool. And do you have so basically this is a conversation at this point, but do you have a link to any of these places that exist? Because I am sure the folks that are watching this, so I was sitting in with the founder of GoFundMe and he was talking about how he was trying to sell the vision of what GoFundMe was. And
Yeah.
one of his first investors like ended up putting up a GoFundMe page and it was essentially to put a pool in his backyard. So like the concept of GoFundMe was broken because most people don't understand. If you don't have kids or you don't live in the Bay Area and you know about these play places, the
Yeah.
context is lost. So do you have a link to like this? Are these folks like these places? Are they online?
Yes, they are online. You can look up play spaces near me and you can find different play spaces and you can start. Oh, yeah. There
Yeah.
goes
So
one right
this
there.
so this is one actually I know of because my kids go to this one. Yeah. So it's called Bay Place over here in West Oakland next to the Target. A lot of people actually don't know about this. It's a few months old. But the idea is you could book these spaces for parties. And this is like their bread and butter. But me and you both know that these places don't actually make a huge profit because like when it's school time's in or there's not a lot going on, they're usually like a slow time. But there's a lot of folks that are like homeschooling kids or you got some time away. Next week for me is going to be spring break. Like
Yeah.
we're actually going to be going to this place with our kids next week. So I guess talk to me about the idea of Plark and like what you put together so far. So I'll pull up your, what do you call this? A PDF?
Yeah.
But explain to me these screens and stuff. So this is obviously the login here, but what's this here?
Yeah. So this is where you search. So once you log in, you come to this homepage and you're able to search different play workspaces. Right there, it will take a geolocation. It will pull up different play spaces by you. Just like you said, there are play spaces in the Bay Area and across America that have space for kids, but then also allow you to book for parties. But those areas where you can book for parties, there's tables, there's Wi-Fi, and they're underused throughout the week because no one's booking a party at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday, right? Because
Yeah.
your kid's supposed to be doing something and you're working. So the idea is that for those people who have kids and they do have their kid at 10 in the morning on a Wednesday, they can still use that space and book that space. So that's where Plark comes in. So right there, if you were to click the kids play space, right, that will
Yeah.
take you to the next screen, which is the actual listing for that space. So that you can enter and then you can also then book the amenities that they have, Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
renting,
What is
food.
air conditioning?
Yeah.
Did you make that yourself?
I did not make the air conditioning myself. No.
I've actually never seen an air conditioning, what a SVG, emoticon, whatever it is. That's funny. I mean, it works. Designers are great at what they do. I understood exactly what that was. And if anybody doesn't know this, like the Bay Area there's not AC in everywhere. So a big deal in the summertime to find out places that have AC.
Definitely.
So not bad. But you got some more screens here. What's the screen here?
So this is after you actually decided on that place, right? Because they have all the amenities that you want, AC being one of them, Wi-Fi being another one, right? So you can actually go to that screen and you can book it and you can add the childcare right there. So those are add-ons. That's an add-on.
Wait, hold on. Explain this. So I find AC, I find Wi-Fi. I'm about to get some work done. I'm going to get a Zoom call because this is now an amenable place to do this. But then what's the childcare thing?
Yeah. So of course, at these play spaces, you're supposed to be there, but the guardian is supposed to stay with the child. And so that becomes a little back and forth between you inside internally. I need an hour really to do this Zoom call and I need to have my full attention to it. I can't run my kids to the bathroom or pull them off the play area when they fall, but they actually didn't hurt themselves. The add-on would be childcare. So then you could select from 1, 2, up to 4 hours of childcare inside that play area. That is really what I think is the bread and butter.
Yeah, that's super valuable because I go to Whole Foods and get my Instacart order picked up and like there's shoppers, there's like delivery, there's like Uber Eats and stuff like that. That concept makes sense. So like having us like a college student or somebody that works at the facility to be able to watch my kid and do daycare, but also this is a fraction of the cost. I pay much more than this for daycare. So if I paid for one day, it's going to be more than $65. I know this is like just an example, but I could imagine if one person's watching 10 kids, like you're now paying 10 people can actually pay for that person's day rate. So I can see like this becomes like an opportunity for professionals or folks who are certified to be able to watch children to one, get a connection and do some work on what they love to do. But also two, I also cannot jump. Like my kid's in the background actually screaming about something. She wanted to get like a bagel sandwich or whatever this morning. I'm like, dude, we can't do that. I gotta work. But what I'm getting at is now I can go to the place and we can just have a good time. I can get some work done, get on calls. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's move to the next one. What's this thing here?
So this is just your profile. So as a parent, save all your credit card information to the wallet. You have a referral code. So then you actually get reward points for referring, bringing more people to the app. And then everything is a calendar. We, as parents, we got to plan things out. It's a nice, easy to use calendar system that will allow for you to have it integrate to your best calendar, Google, Outlook, whatever it is, or inside the app. The family area is where you can add. So a lot of these places, they have waivers. So what we'll do is we'll already have waivers saved. So then when you're going to a new place under that family tab, we will be able to send that waiver to that place. So you don't have to refill that out every time. It's a big pain when you're going to a new play space. Your kids are very happy and they want to just run right in, but you have to wait outside and fill out 2 or 3 forms or 1 form, depending on how many kids you have, just to enter. So that could take you 5-10 minutes. So having that runs fast right there where it says Plarkers, that's the that's what I'm calling the freelance child caregivers, right? Those people who are in the app who are going to take care of your kids, right? You want to know about them. So you'll be able to click and see who is watching your kid, the profile of the person who's watching your kid, the day and time that you're booked. So the idea about that is sometimes you're planning, like you're saying, it's spring break next week. So you may plan next week that you're going there on a Wednesday or Thursday. That Plarker tab will notify you when the person actually who is going to be at that location and that time who's watching your kid. So that's where you go for there. Most frequented, that just shows you where you're going, transactions, and then eventually they will have rewards, discounts at different places. So that
Yeah. So let's talk about the other half of this because I think that's what the rest of these screens are, which is this specifically? So we have the actual. Actually, we take a step back. This is a two-sided marketplace. So, and like in my background, I actually started a company and had raised VC funding and sold it to my current employer, which is the Linux Foundation. Shout out. Thanks for giving me some time to do this. But this now has a marketplace for parents, but then there's a marketplace for Plarkers, which are these like childcare people. No, what are Plarkers again? Remind me of that.
Yeah, so Plarkers are the actual independent childcare givers. That's what we're calling them. And then this dashboard right here, where you see the total, that's actually for the play space or the actual host who has the location.
Got it. So it's technically a 3-sided marketplace then, because you've got these contractors who can help watch kids. You got the actual physical location, which they have the challenge of just trying to get awareness and get more people through the door on some of the slower days. And then you have the parents that are just looking for a place, and these are the folks who are actually distributing the money and paying for the service. So I imagine there's like a subscription fee. This is for the business dashboard. Which we can scroll through this because I want to get into building this. And then this is specifically for the what's the screen here?
Yeah, and this is the Plarker. This is the independent caregiver. This is their stream. So they'll be able to pick up shifts, see how much they earned, a calendar of what shifts they are booked for, and then of course their profile.
Yeah. So what's your minding that we want to actually get to building this in a moment, because what's cool about this is you've put some time into putting this concept together. And this is actually way more than I expected to you to actually come on this channel with. I know I give you very little prepping material, like literally just yesterday I told you what we're going to be doing, and now we're here.
Yeah.
But what's your background? This is great. Are you a designer? Are you an engineer? What do you do?
Yeah, I actually do sales, but I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I've opened a clothing store previously. It was actually a physical clothing store here in Richmond. That's where I am. I'm at a co-working space in Richmond, California. And I've tried to do different apps and startups before. So I tried to educate myself and learn from people like you and other people online. And yeah, Canva has been my go-to for about 5 years, right? And I've just been playing in Canva and being able to just create different screens, different things. And that's what got me to this point. Once I had an idea that I thought I can solve, I went to Canva and I started putting together designs to actually solve that.
Cool. Yeah. And I apparently have a Canva account. I didn't know I did. I was going to
Hey.
show excuse me. What was it? I was going to show the landing page in the event that Canva's marketing team wanted to sponsor this. Canva, welcome back. I don't know why this keeps showing me. Okay, here we go. We'll just show this like beautifully designed template. So you went through, what is wrong with this app? It just signed me back in. But you went through and you built Canva, which is pretty cool. Or you built this using Canva, which is perfect because I wanted to introduce you to a tool called Bolt. So how much coding background do you have?
Not that much. I took a few little classes, but after that, I started my sales career.
Yeah, yeah. And like I was going to ask too as well, like you lived in Richmond, California. Like you're only one ferry ride or one bridge ride away from, or technically two, depending on which way to go, to San Francisco. Did you grow up around tech, like technical savvy? You guys didn't write JavaScript in high school and stuff like that?
No, I actually did not write JavaScript in high school. Did learn a little bit of Photoshop, and I guess that's where I can illustrate a little bit more. Because I did play with Photoshop, and then now Canva makes it easy and simple to do a lot of the things that you can do in Photoshop. Especially, I use it for like marketing and social media stuff. Yeah, I think this new AI boom in creating web and mobile apps from images is great for me because I can turn those images, like you said, that I made in Canva into working mobile apps. I'm here for it.
Yeah. What's your experience in AI, like prompting?
I do have a chat GPT. I just think February, I signed up for the $20 a month plan just to ask it more questions about Plark and just other business ideas. And now I feel like I'm still not a pro, but at least I can
Well,
help.
you are a pro because you're paying for ChatGPT Pro. There we go. OpenAI sponsored this thing. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to explain to you what we're going to do. And we're going to basically go through building your app live. That's going to work. Like you're going to be the login. You're going to be able to like add it. I don't know how far we're going to get into because you got a 3-sided marketplace. What I want to do is focus on the parent experience.
Yes.
And then potentially the actual, sorry, you call them Plarkers. Plarkers are which ones?
Yeah, Plarkers are the independent caregivers who actually.
Okay, got it. That's a super valuable part. We might even get as part as the third part, but where did that last? So I want to be able to like have a place for places, have a place for parents. And we're going to do the concept of, like the lean startup methodology?
Nope.
Yeah. So the lean startup is basically like you build the minimum viable product. So you want to build just enough to get the story out there. So what you have is enough that you can put to a pitch deck and go walk to different actual Plark places. And then, but we want to get to something that's a little bit further now. Somebody can like point and click, you can navigate, even if it's fake data, which we're going to mock a lot of data out today, but we want to have that concept ready to go. The other thing I'm going to point out is that we do have mobile screens. My expertise is actually mainly on the web, but I do have a service that we can actually leverage to do mobile apps and web technologies, which is JavaScript, called Expo. So the good news is that Bolt.new is a service to basically prompt your way into building fully functional, full stack applications. So the benefit of this is like you went to WordPress and you built out your original WordPress landing page, which is great. But when you start really digging into WordPress, you got to understand PHP, you got to understand a bunch of other stuff, which I don't know. And the disconnect from folks who don't know how to code and folks who do code is actually hard. So you end up spending a lot more money trying to leverage consultancies, agencies that build this. I have a friend who built a company with all agency and consulting, and it cost him $320,000 to build a version 2 of his existing app. So he already had the product, but it cost him another more than $250,000 to just build the next version. And what we're going to do this is going to cost $20 a month. So the benefit of this is if you ever need to take this and give it to somebody who knows more about this, like maybe a college student, a bootcamp grad, they can jump in and make changes. Also, because this is hooked up to AI, you can make changes yourself. And we'll talk about this. I'm going to start off with a quick prompt, which is going to be like, we want to build, and then I'm going to keep this at this. Can you see this okay?
I can. This is
Yeah,
great.
I'm going to avoid trying to zoom in because I'm going to let Chris do all the zooming of this stuff, because if I start zooming in and zooming out, it's just going to break up the editing. That's a note for you, Chris. So we start with the prompt, which is I'd like to build, I actually saved this prompt. So one sec. I saved the prompt because I wanted to make sure we start off with something that would work. And I was dumbfounded on how easy this was to get started. So I'm looking to build I'm going to say 2-sided marketplace. because I don't want to include the Plarker part yet because it's just going to confuse the database structure.
Yes.
A two-sided marketplace and we're just going to copy and paste this because we don't need to type all this out. So I'm looking to build a two-sided marketplace for the Airbnb for children places. This is an opportunity for parents to have kids in a safe spot. This is the benefit of doing this morning on the couch. A safe spot to play opportunity for parents to have kids in a safe place, play while they co-work. Honestly, the benefit of AI is they don't even care about your grammar. So we're just going to roll with
awesome.
it.
Yeah, let's go.
And I just mentioned one amenity, which is free Wi-Fi. We can add more later. Okay. I've uploaded a mobile screen in colors, and I'd like a mobile first experience. But also, I need this to be responsive as well. So let's start with just one screen. And what I found out when I did this, it actually created a mobile app instead. So I guess I was going to ask you the question, how important is it to have a web experience versus mobile?
I think mobile first is the best because most people will have this on their phone, and could be for the non-prepared parent, right? They woke up that morning and they realized that they got 11 o'clock meeting and they still have their kid. So they need something really quick. So that's why mobile first is the best. But then those people who are planning, they can sit down, they can be at a computer and they can look at their calendar and then match what they're going to do with their child.
So the question I'll have for you, which is, should we build an iPhone app first, or should we build a website that can be, like, is somebody going to log into Plark and use this, or are they going to download an app first? And I think I know the answer, which is, I think the world of my iPhone app first is less of a thing because people are going to start with your website.
Yeah.
When you need to do something like manage your business as the Plark place, I think they're probably going to want the mobile app. So I'm going to basically pull an audible and say, let's build a website that is mobile friendly that you can leverage. The beauty of this is we can take the same screens and build a mobile app just as fast. And I say this because I'm not good at mobile, and we might actually slow the process down if we just go mobile first with the Expo app. But we'll do a part 2 of this where we'll build a mobile experience. I'm just going to say, please. And the thing is with prompting, you could be very explicit and rude if you'd like, but I'll say, please do not give me an Expo app. I'd like this to be a web app. I want to see what this looks like because I do like the Expo experience. I do think that you could just as easily go generate the Expo experience with all the screens the way I'm doing this. And we actually might even have time to do the Expo experience after we've got the inner workings of the product. So what's happening right now is actually AI is using agents. The concept of agents.
No.
So autonomous agents. So Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, has been really pushing for this thing, which is AIG, which is like autonomous agents. Just, I don't know, you think about like these robots that can think and have feelings. These are agents, not folks that can actually go build and do all the work for you behind the scenes. So what we've done is we went and got a few agents in addition to, this is actually built on Anthropic's Claude 3.7 Sonnet. I don't even know if that even matters at this point to mention, but the model is going out and discovering like what framework to leverage, what JavaScript code to write to basically make this work. So we could see that we have a couple things, and I want to go back to Plark, the PDF. So what it's attempted is actually build this screen. So what I realized what I did is I didn't actually upload the image, which is why it came and did something completely random. So what I'm going to do is actually start over.
All right.
Oh man, that's embarrassing. All right, let's do this again, and we're going to upload the actual image because the benefit of this is like you really came through with the design, but I negated to even bring that design into the forefront. But this is why we're going to do a montage. So what I'm doing is I'm going to upload just one screen. It'd be very easy for us to build this entire thing in one shot, but then we're going to get like an experience that kind of doesn't work, and like we want to get to a point where it works. So
yes,
we're now building essentially this page, but as a mobile friendly experience. So we're going to start again, and I'm going to hit that. And I'm going to explain to you, hey, Osighton, do you know what agents are?
No, I don't know what agents are.
Oh, yeah. So agents are autonomous infrastructure that basically go off and blah, 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 whatever I just said about Sam Altman. And then eventually we'll cut into the actual looking screen here on the right. So hopefully it's not too much editing. But so yeah, basically it's going out and using Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which is built by Anthropic, to go and build out your site. So it's writing out the HTML, It's writing out the JavaScript, CSS, all the stuff that you know what it is.
Yes.
But the benefit of this is you don't have to sit and write the code. And me as a engineer, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Sorry, I do know a lot of this. I don't like starting new stuff.
Got it.
It's time intensive. And I think that's what's happening here is that we have a full on site. We've got like a pen experience here and it matches the mobile experience. So we're going to have to do some tweaks to make it more desktop friendly. But Osighton, here you are. So what it's using under, so what it's using under the hood is actually Unsplash images. So it's just it's going to add whatever image here. So what I'm going to do is try to fix some of these broken images so we can get an understanding of what we're looking at. The other thing is that this is mobile first, but we want to basically decide this that we want to keep the mobile elements, but we also don't want to. So like you can see, it does have the experience that you have, but we do have some broken images as well. So what I want to do, and I think what I tried to do is try to find something that looks exactly like this. So instead of doing that, we're going to go back to this and say, hey, great job. Great job. I'd like, now I'd like to use to improve the desktop experience.
Okay.
By switching. And I guess the question for you is we've got these like buttons here, but I don't think that's going to work in the actual desktop experience. Do you think a drop down would be better?
Yes.
Switching and what is the section called?
Those are categories.
Okay. Switching the category section. And the thing is we want to name it because it's going to name it in the code and it's going to name it every time we go try to change it. So we're going to change these categories for example, and you got to be explicit with the prompting because it doesn't know what categories are yet. So that
makes sense.
Drop off parties and etc. are categories. So that way we can name what that is in the future. Make this a drop down for desktop only and add a label categories. Now, the question to you is, do you want this categories? I think it's self-explanatory. I think we'll keep it off on the mobile, but we'll have a label for desktop because you don't have the same context of what you're looking at. Label is desktop only.
That makes sense.
Yeah, these are like some things that I spent years working as a front-end developer at various startups in San Francisco. These are the things that you probably end up running into doing work like this. So you can kind of see in the code, we've got now these categories, which we didn't have before. Okay. Actually, I don't know what it was labeled before. Excuse me. But it's going to do the work of basically it's like doing a very desktop-friendly experience. And we won't do a lot of this. We're going to make sure that the app itself works. But we also want to make sure that, now we got like a more aesthetically pleasing section here. And again, like this is what I do a lot is like, I'll go to Airbnb. Hopefully I don't dox myself. Look at where I'm staying as of recent, but Airbnb is a great example. Super perfect design company. Like perhaps if we wanted to be like, you know what? I don't think a dropdown is what we want. I like what Airbnb is doing. And we'll basically like, we can have filters and stuff like that. Did you look at Airbnb?
I did not look at Airbnb, but yeah, that's exactly what I was doing, but I didn't know how to make it into a,
So if we wanted to say, hey, great job, because you want to give we want to get affirmation to the thing so it knows, not that you want to like pat on its back, but it also knows it's doing the right thing. Yeah. Because if it's way off, you got to be like, hey, that was wrong. Because you're training the model as we're going along. So this entire chat history is going to have context around you, Plark, this business. So we're going to build its confidence up. Hey, great job. But I have wanted to try the Airbnb style of, let me see, style for categories where it is a side scroll at the top of the page.
Okay.
And I'll say with just the icons, or what do you call these things?
I call them icons.
Yeah. And I do like, honestly, there's so much you can like this take from Airbnb. You're already there. But let's see what, like with that, what it does. Again, just for desktop. And we'll show the difference between the two. And we're going to basically get this screen to work, and we'll do another screen. And then we're going to how does it know what?
How does it know the Airbnb style?
You're right. It doesn't. You got to catch me. I didn't upload the picture, but it actually might go to Airbnb. So the thing is, it might go to the website and go check it out, but it might get limited because you might have to log in to look at that. It says I've updated, and I haven't even read this stuff too as well. So I've upgraded to do it this way. Try this example. So basically it's done this. It's got the labels. I think this is actually much better than we had with the multiple layers. It does have to see more, but try this. See attached for Airbnb's categories.
Okay.
And I think I was talking about this and I don't think I uploaded it. So this is the challenge of live coding this thing. So I'll grab this. I just grabbed the screenshot and I will upload it. Good question. But actually this is, the benefit of this is I can't get all this done for you, but you'll have enough that you can get this done yourself.
Yes. Yes. And because the prompting is the hard part and
coding is the hard part. And we were not even doing that part.
Yeah, the coding is the hard part.
But you can also, I just want to call out like app TSX, like this is the main app site. This is using React, and React, the benefit of this is like, we can go back and say, hey, explain the code base to us, and which would be super beneficial, which I'll do in the next. But you can now see, okay, these categories and the way the coding works is like you can label the stuff where it's going to do a little bit of filter and show this out. So you kind of have this experience now. The challenge is see more. We're going to remove the see more button.
Yeah, because that was more.
And what you only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Add 5 more random categories. Just want to see a thing. No, but yeah, you got to see it explaining itself. So 3.7 Sonnet or 3.5 Sonnet has this reasoning model, which will explain what it's doing and give you sort of the instructions of how they got here as well. Done this. I've added the left to right scroll, made the icon smaller, blah, blah, blah. Added a hover effect. Oh, okay, cool. And it will start to learn and like just go do stuff for you. So one of the things I created is a site called dpo.netlify.app. So I ended up deploying this and, dude, really? Did I spell Netlify wrong? You know what? I'll just go to the link. Oh, I never put a link because I'm trying not to share this. I haven't quite finished this product yet. But the idea here is like, I've created a login. I already forgot my login password. But what I did is I went to Big Face Coffee and I was like, hey, I like this style. Apply that style to my product. And it did.
Got it.
And now every time it makes something new, it's going to apply that same style. So if you're like, I like Airbnb, use the Airbnb style. And the best thing you could do is just not give it a website, but give it a screenshot and it'll do a much better job. But I'm going to basically, I should have hit enter when I was doing that because it would have been done. But now we're going to basically update it with 5 extra categories. Like you can, we got art studio, music room, active play, nature play. So it's kind of getting the concept because we explain this is for playing and working parents, like with Wi-Fi and blah, blah, blah. So it's going to make it up. And the cool thing about this is you could change this later. And it even chose some specific emojis, which is great. Did you put emojis in there originally? You didn't. Yeah. So it's basically, hey, I don't have these icons. Let's just go ahead and just put it in there. So now you can see there's a bit more. You can see this. Now we can get really in the nitty gritty of, okay, I want it to look like this. I want it black and white, or we want sketch drawings or whatever. But I think I'm going to move on from that. And instead we're going to add in more context and then fix these images and then fix this footer. So let's just start with actually real quick. So I used to work in this company called GitHub, and I showed you GitHub previously. GitHub is a place where most of this code will go live. So if you wanted to go upload this and have a private repo to have this code to share with that engineer, you can do that. But you want to have a README to explain to the engineer you hand off to. So can you generate a README file that explains the structure of the code in case I need to hand off to an engineer? So it's going to basically just make a doc to explain how this code works. That way, the engineer that you hand it off to, if you'd like to, can know where everything's at, how this works without spending too much extra effort.
Got it.
So now we got his explanation of features. We got like categories, recommendations, and normally you'd have this broken up into like separate files. But for now, we have a README. And then it's just basically just added this one file to show the structure of the code, explaining where stuff is, where dependencies is, like what does it's a React app, etc., how to install it, run it local. So with your ChatGPT Pro, you could also run this locally just by asking ChatGPT, hey, here's my README. What do I need to install? What do I need to do? What are my steps to get this to work? So doing that just for your sake in the future. Then I'm already going to have a tea break. All right. Any questions so far?
This is awesome. Going through the steps is amazing because now I'm just trying to understand how to get it more, like you said, build out the rest of it and get the other screens that I haven't done and tell it how to tell it to build those other screens.
Just going to fix that thing. Actually, I think this would actually be better as a side panel. Oh, you know what? We're going to make it a top nav. Sorry,
Yeah.
this is just my design sense. Make this a top nav
Yeah, I think it makes
for
sense.
desktop only. And the thing is, we haven't even looked at mobile. So mobile is looking good. Like we still have the same experience in mobile, which again, you're just basically telling the prompt, hey, I want this for that, this for that. And then if you were to work with a designer,
Okay.
I think that's how you're the product manager, you're a product owner. You're now explaining, hey, I actually wanted like this. I wanted to move this pixel over here. Like the more detail you are, the better off this thing's going to be.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and pick a new screen too as well. So we got this screen that mostly works. We're going to fix the images in a second.
Okay.
We want to get to this screen probably. So when you click on the page, I want to see the details. And again, this will all be placeholders. I'll show you how to do real data in a moment. And then we will then probably skip this screen to then I probably do a screen for the actual place to fill in their details and create a new place. Because if you can create a new place, then you can start filling the details of how you would pay to go join a place and do scheduling. So you've got a multifaceted app that's going to have lots of features. It's going to take a bit of time, but with the lean startup methodology, like we want to basically set this up in a way that like, what's the minimum viable product that people can use? And the first thing you have to do is get places on here.
Yes.
So we over index on getting businesses to get their place up there.
Yes.
So that experience, the dashboard, everything like that, fill in the blanks and the details. Let's do that first, because then everything else will come after. And I think what's going to come after will be individuals choosing places to hang out at.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. To your point, yeah, the listings, getting listings up is the number one thing. So
Yeah. Can you fix the images? Replace they are currently 404 except one. Kids. Now, this might be hard to find kids playing, but we'll see if they can source something. Just so we can kind of get the feel of what we're looking at.
Yeah. No, this makes sense. And then you can feed it data. That's what you're saying? You're saying that you can actually...
Yeah, so we're actually connected to a database, which is called Supabase. Supabase is actually, fun enough, I'm actually an early investor in Supabase, so I know the team pretty well.
Congratulations.
And they take away, like if you've heard of Firebase before.
I have.
Yeah, so I know you have a bit of coding experience and you've done some tinkering. Firebase got acquired by Google. It's now injected into the Borg. Supabase is like this new earliest version of let's just throw something together. So now we've got some images. We could always change this with something actual legit, but for now, we're just going to leave it as is. So
coming
out. Yeah, now I need a screen when I click hit on a play place. So I think what I'm looking at is these are the play places that you're recommending were to click these and then show the actual details screen, these are basically, would this be like a filter of places or what is down here?
Yes, the popular destinations, that area is actually just the icons, a visual of the icons. So that means what's in those categories, you can just click. If you just want STEM play, you can.
Oh, these up here.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll be honest, like the drop down better than this thing. I think this is a little bit busy because if we're going to have this a popular of these things, like we want people to drive them to the thing you want them to do. So normally I'd go and roll back to checkpoint here because the more context you add to this, the more expensive it is to leverage. But for now, I'm going to do one more thing. So basically let's switch the categories. And you can always change this whenever you want back to a drop down. And I'm going to have to take a break for tea.
Yeah, me too. It's water. I got my water cup.
All right, let's take a brief commercial break to tell you about our sponsor. I'm just going to hit mute. Be right back in a moment.
This episode is sponsored by Bolt, an AI-powered web development agent that allows you to prompt, run, and edit and deploy full-stack applications directly from the browser.
I also just used the bathroom too, so I was like,
yeah, no worries. I just sat down. I just noticed that the drop down was a little off.
Okay.
Do you have a hard stop in 30 minutes?
I don't. Yeah, I don't have a hard stop. I'm good.
Okay. We might. So I want to get to the point where we have a working authentication, login, and you can add new places so you can see how that concept works with the database. I want to get to that point so you can see how all the different flows work. So cool. What's to go with this? We could always manipulate this. And the best thing you could do is just use, as you saw, use a screenshot to use an example somewhere else. If you design it in Canva, if you're going to do something visual, it's going to work better if you drop in a like an example screenshot. But for now, I'm going to basically say, I'd like to create the page when you click on a play place. And I haven't looked at the code to know how this is going to work. So we've got a list of mobile header. So you can see in the code, there's comments as well. Okay. So this is the header for mobile, and that's going to be very different than what's happening on desktop.
Okay.
So just what I like to do is I always just look for the words. These words would be swapped out with database calls, but for now, this is all static. So there's no database yet. But
I get what you're saying. Literally,
yeah.
HTML.
For example, and we're going to get this in JavaScript. So I'm just going to call out kids play space because at least I can know, I'm going to tell the AI to know where to look. I want to, in the recommendation section, and make it look like this. So I'm going to grab a screenshot of that page. And then for the sake of the recording, I'm just going to show off what it's going to look like. So this is our mobile screen where we can have like the image. We've got like the title, the price, the air conditioning. We've got the details in particular, and then some images, and then a book now. Looking pretty good?
It's looking pretty good. Let's see what AI can do.
Yeah, be sure to make this work on desktop, but it will be mobile first. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited so I've been building this little thing called Dinner People, and I haven't even done the expo stuff. I'm going to do that this weekend and build my first mobile app and see how fast I can get on the App Store. But the thing about the App Store is you gotta have a working product and security stuff and everything like that to even submit for it. So it'll be a while. Like it's a weekend project.
It's a weekend project. Okay. Yeah, that's probably, for me, it'd probably be a 2 weeks project because that's where I want to be. I want to be able to get this fully out onto the App Store so then people can actually like join and start to use it a little bit. I run a beta with people.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably have something that will work in my accounts, but we'll probably just export the chat for you, and you can actually just start again and really just manipulate what you want to do. because again, what's going on here? Why is this centered? But we got a page. It looks like it's working. We can see all images. Now we didn't ask about this. We didn't ask for that, but it did add it. And then we look at a mobile screen. We've got essentially the concept. Now we can get a little bit nitpicky about placement and stuff like that. I think for a one-shop experience, the fact you had to design up front made it it made it an easier experience to basically say, okay, cool. What happens? Okay. This one doesn't click. So I was very specific about making this one work. And this is great for demos. We're going to make them all work.
Okay.
Cool. And then it started to explain, like, we got the place-based detail, large header. Be sure to keep the text. Actually, is it? No, I don't know why it centered the text. It was like an accident. Left align. And these are like going to be concepts that the thing is, oh, sorry. Be sure to keep the text left aligned in the card, but also make all other place cards work and have its own dynamic details page. And the thing is, like, they're going to use these little cues. They might call this a dynamics details page. We'll check that in a second. But I'm going to get a little bit of an extra wording to basically say, hey, I want all of them to work. I want each one to have a page, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build, how do you create these pages? So we're going to have essentially an admin section, which will require a login, because the experience you have right now is that you should be able to use this thing. I don't know. Did you want people to explore this without logging in, or did you have to have an account to access this?
Yeah, I want them to have an account. So
okay.
that I can say I have users.
That makes sense. So we'll create a login page and we'll add authentication. So that way we'll see that first.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah. So you can see the place-based interface. Here we go. Place-based detail. So they created this page and now they're adding a dynamic way to not just make one page work, but going to make any sort of image and details work. So what it's done so far, it's actually been using hard-coded text like HTML to basically have the details here. When we do the authentication, we'll get an opportunity to, it looks like it broke the images. So like we still need those in that sort of transition. Can you fix the 404 images? And we haven't got to the point where we have any errors yet. All images seem broken. Please explain what happened. But what I usually like to do with the prompt is, hey, you made some changes, like we explain it. And I usually will read all this, but because for the sake of the video, I'm not reading it all. But I think what's happening is they moved the pictures never moved to where they were, but the code moved. So when it comes to like, you get 404s, it's because it can't find that image. It's because the file moved somewhere else. So like the code itself is now in this folder, but it's pointing to the images in the other folder. So it's going to go ahead and fix that. It's probably will apologize. I noticed the issue of the image. Let me fix it by updating the image URLs to working ones.
It makes sense. Yeah, it was in a different folder, so it's going to break.
Cool. So the next thing we'll do is we're going to go back to your Plark app. We skated over this, which is the Plark logo. Now it's going to fill in a logo because you're going to have to upload that yourself. If you had this image, it'll take a lot of resources to recreate that image on the fly. So it's going to be cheaper to just upload it directly. But we're going to basically say, hey, create this screen, the login screen, these colors. I want folks to see this picture. Or see this first. And then I'll probably make a note to leave out the iPhone details because it might be specific. Cool. So it just gave us another set of random images, which is fine.
Yeah.
You got the idea. Then you got more images, which you can see your original image here. Cool. So great job. And I was going to ask it to explain what was broken, but it did. I guess I did ask it. Please explain what happened. I now need authentication because I would like every person to have an account before they join. Now, we're going to do email authentication, but you can do Google Auth or Facebook Auth or whatever. That's an extra step that requires us to go set up an account, a developer account on that side. There's a lot of documentation, and the beauty is you can just ask the prompt to be like, hey, what steps do I need to do to make this work for Facebook login? But we're going to keep it simple, which is password email before they can see any places. This will be important because we want to have an admin experience, which is going to be the owners of the business. So let me go ahead and find this login screen, which again, this login screen is going to be super simple. We could actually one-shot this and say, let's just create a login screen. We could update it to the image because I don't think I grabbed the screenshot, but what do you think? Let's do this. Actually, we'll just grab this right here. There we go. Yeah, and normally I'm doing like way more details with less than back and forth. So I'll have a full paragraph how we started. Like our original prompt, let me do this right here. My original prompt was basically not a full paragraph, but like almost there with another sentence as well of what not to do. Like you want really want to think through the process and try to get as close as possible.
Yeah.
AI is not always going to get it right, but the more you coach it and train it, it will get there. So you can see our login state.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be very JavaScript heavy. It's going to use authorization hook. And this is also going to be a very specific JavaScript thing. So you have a Supabase connection, which we'll do in a second. But what I've done already, because my account's already connected to Supabase, we can spare how that works. And I can show you that later. But the idea is like Supabase handles a database, your user table, where all your users' data is stored securely. So you don't have any sort of breaches of protocol and security vulnerabilities. You're good on that front. But also, you don't have to go figure out how security and cryptography and all the other stuff works. It just kind of sets up us for success by having a standard that's already out there in the ecosystem.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Learning so much about all of this stuff. So thank you.
Yeah. And at this point, I don't know how much of this content we're going to have now because we're just this will 100% be montage stuff. So at the point we took a bathroom break, we'll probably end up having, oh, perfect, we have a problem. So I want to talk through what this did. So basically installed Supabase as a dependency. It's going to set up all Supabase authentication to do login. It's also added protected routes. So that way the actual main page where you see all the places, it will always redirect you back to login if you're not logged in. So that's what a protected route is. And then it says to complete the setup, you need to hit connect to Supabase. I have an account, so it's going to basically create a new project, and I'm going to call it Plark Inc. And I'm going to create a password, which is going to be the same password I have saved here. So because I'm recording, I don't want to make up a password. So first database is paid, create your database, blah, blah, blah. Additional database costs $10 a month. So you owe me $10.
I got you. Thank you.
But the benefit is when you sign up for Supabase, it'll be free for you up to a certain amount, 8 gigabytes. And 8 gigabytes, for context, I ran a startup with 20,000 users and we were at 10 gigabytes. So and we had lots of actual user data as well. So it'll be a while before you get to the paid tier.
Okay. That's awesome.
But what's cool about AI is we're setting this up for work on my accounts. We could also take AI and run it locally. So any sort of, not ChatGPT, but GitHub Copilot or Continue.dev or Windsurf or Cursor, you can run that locally and say, hey, I need to switch it to this account. Here are my keys that I've generated on the website. So it should be just as easy for you to find and replace and make this work. And I can also screen share and show you how to do that. So we've got an example, which is a site at Plark Inc., which maybe it found it on the on the internet, or did we have
I think it was in the screenshot.
Oh, it was on the screenshot? Oh, yeah. Okay, I was about to say, how'd they find you?
I mean,
It's getting hard.
they're getting good.
So we did get an error, which is Supabase is looking for its URL to be added. So we're going to attempt to fix it. Because it's connected, it should be able to go to Supabase and fill in the blank. So we'll see if they can resolve it. But basically, I created a database for you, and it has a URL. So the way this works, Supabase is built on top of Postgres, which is the most popular database technology in open source. The way you connect to databases is to a string of text to know that that's your database. And Supabase gives you a very much like a website URL for your database. And it just added it, so we're good to go. I'm going to create an account. Okay, this is actually perfect because you already thought about this. Maybe you saw someone else do this, which is I can do a login or create account, and it actually goes back and forth between the two options. So I'm going to create an account, which I'll use my email and dox myself. I will use my standard fake password so I don't have to remember it. Oh, let's see. What happened? Oh, so again, Supabase is getting a little connection problems. Normally I'd get in the docs and look back and forth, look at the code. I'm going to let AI do it.
Oh, okay.
And there's
So
a whole nother video about how debugging in AI, but yeah, sorry, ask your question.
So this is setting up, you're going to be the first user in the database.
Yes, I'll be user number 1.
Yeah.
I hope that's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
Oh, I got to hit sign up. Okay, so I signed up. We haven't really talked through that experience. I think there's something invalid credentials in the body. All right, so at this point, let me stop sharing because I've got to expose my keys to fix it. I just don't want to record that because
Yeah, no, it's all good.
okay, so Supabase requires invalid credentials. Discuss the problem. All right, let me close that screen and share this again. So I guess this is going to show us how to debug. So I basically looked at my keys. I saw they're there. It says the sign in is not working. Ensure the hook is correctly calling. Sign in with password. Verify credentials. Double check the email and password entered. That's good. So what I'll do is I'll go into Supabase just to double check to see if I've got that authentication in my project. So I've got Plark Inc. Plark Inc. has an auth. I've got my user right here. I've got my everything cached. So like I'm good there. Just make sure email is turned on. Email is turned on. Oh, so that it basically says base, blah, blah, just auth users. So check Supabase. What is rate limiting? No, it doesn't seem like any of that is going. Check if account exists. Yeah, the only other thing is, so every time I hit an error that it doesn't want to log in, the other thing is I might have an email. Supabase used to do this where they send an email to validate your account.
Oh, to confirm.
And I don't have one because I don't have that turned on. But this should, and oh, you know what? It's the wrong password. I'm using a saved password, and that's not the one I used. I'm going to basically go back in my user table and just reset my password, maybe. Or I'll just delete my user. That'd be better. So stuff like intuitive when it comes to looking through a table in a database. It's just like looking at a spreadsheet. So we're going to try this again. Sign up. I'm not going to use the saved password because I think it's trying to use my bolt.new password. This is the same email I use, and that's not going to fly. So, oh, and I realize I typed the password wrong too as well. Okay, there's a multifaceted reasons of why this is not working, but it's mainly because, nope, that's not it. Invalid email and password. All right, let's try to create a new password. There we go. We'll see if AI will do this for me. What is it doing? Based on our error, if I can't see, we need to create a use. Oh, we don't have a create user. Invalid log credentials errors. Let's fix this by creating a new user account through the sign up page and then logging in with those credentials. So it's going to create a user for me.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Which I'm not mad about. Let's go. Okay. Upon success, first go to the sign up page /sign up. So we're in sign up. Brian let's go with opensauce.pizza. And honestly, you can put whatever you want here because it's not going to send an email. Okay. We didn't see that before. So it might have been basically me and my browser trying to use a save password, which is why I just use a random URL I knew I was going to have in this browser. And now I got to remember my password. It didn't go. It created the account.
Yeah, it did. It definitely said that.
Yeah, this is like the part. Oh, after login, please. We didn't actually explain that, did we? Redirect to the main Explore page.
Okay. Yeah, because you could be signed in right now, but there's no
Yeah.
it's after.
Yeah, and this is like where we get to the sort of uncanny valley of if you've build applications and you understand the process and the flow, right? Immediately, I'm like, okay, we're logged in. But then the other thing we could do, which I've done in a great success, is hey, build me a debugging page. So debugging being like, if there's a bug, give me a flow or give me a page where I can like test login and then give me the status. If it's like 200 OK, which is an error code in development, it'll create a whole debug page. And then when you're done, hey, delete this stuff. So I've done that with AI a ton where I'm like, hey, I don't know why this button's not working. Build me a new page where this button works in isolation and show me how, like, what to do next. This message didn't complete its response. What? So it's going to rewrite our home feed as an Explore feed because I did change the name of it. I probably should have said home feed, but we'll want to delete that. And we want to okay. So we haven't done any rollback yet, but I'm going to roll back because we don't want the Explore page. So I rolled back. You can always, anytime you want, you could roll back to a previous step. It will delete everything you've done.
Oh.
But like when you're getting like a weird back and forth with the thing, it's sometimes good to just
Roll back.
unload. So is the after login, is the user being redirected? Currently, nothing happens for me. Didn't need that second.
You can ask it questions. It will just
yeah. You don't always have to tell it to do stuff. So it's checking. I think it's doing what I was trying to do is redirect it. So it's checking to see if all that works. Enhanced loading state. Yeah. So here we go.
There it goes.
So it turns out like it wasn't actually doing the redirect, which I knew that was happening. But now we're finally at the place where we can now do the admin side. Quick time check. I've got like 30 minutes left. Let's do a quick admin screen. Make sure that a user who's an admin has a separate experience. So that way you could test this, you could actually add stuff to it. And then you see how the sausage is made of how you would build out different screens, different pages. If you were to do a screen for another user role, and we're going to call these roles. So we have admin role, which are these going to be folks who, these could be like business owners. You could call it business owners. Actually, we'll call these admins. Like in Uber, you've got the drivers and you got the riders, and it's like very clear. So in Plark, have you thought through them?
Yeah, I was calling them host. They're the host site.
Yeah.
They have listings because they can create as many listings.
For a new user user role called a host who can create new listings.
You call them event details, or what do we already call them? We call them something.
Play place details.
Yeah. So we could just.
So we're going to call these play place listings. The thing is, you could have multiple play places, but what the actual user role, which is going to be the host, needs to have an array or this sort of grouping of play places, and we'll call those listings.
Okay.
Listings. And this is where we need to flex our muscles and be like, we know how this is going to work. Let's get the detail out here. So listings are a group owned by the host user role.
Yeah.
And include multiple play
places.
And the thing in the object in the database, we'll have the thing is we might want to call these listings because each list, we can associate each listing to a user and then we can group that in the UI. So it's probably important listings are a database column owned and associated to the host.
Yeah, that works. I follow that one.
User ID. A host can have multiple listings, and the UI will list all owned listings. Now you can get in like a weird place where you have multiple hosts that are shared the same listing. There might be an admin, and that's where you introduce that later. But these are like things that because you have thought through so much of this app, you don't want to get too lost in the sauce and all these minute details, because the real goal right now is, can we get a listing up?
Yes.
Because all the other stuff we can change later. So I'm going to try to find do you have a listing page?
See that right there when it says listings, that's where the host will click to see all their.
Okay.
So I don't have one.
What is attached is the host dashboard screen. And the thing is, we can help the AI figure out the rest. And then if you ever want to change it, just do another screenshot of a design screen that will link to the list of listings page. So let me grab that screenshot. I didn't take that screenshot, did I? Cool. Oh, you know what? Let's scroll out. Let's get all of this in here. To note, this is the mobile experience. Please also make a desktop experience work similar to the home page. And the other thing is like that home page, what would you call this thing? Because we call it a home page, but I think, is this like an Explorer?
Yeah.
I was thinking Explorer.
Yeah, it's an Explore page.
So I'm going to basically say, while you are there, also rename home to Explore to better match the user experience. Oh, I did it again. I didn't upload.
I saw the link, the Dropbox link. I didn't know if that was.
I don't think it's going to be able to see the link, but we'll see what it does. And we can see what happens if we just, hey, the design's off. There you go. It might make it up, which will be expensive, but it's like the live coding. I got the typing out and then I never uploaded the thing. This is why you're my co-pilot. But we'll see. And just in case, yeah, because I ended up pasting the link instead of, which they might actually, it might open it. Let's see. Oh, it does. Okay, we might be good. It might be able to look at the link. So now you can also upload hosted links as well.
Learn something new every day.
Cool. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but basically, and this is a bit more work than we've done already. We've moved navigation. Now we have a database that we're going to be running. I think we saw a migration here. So this is us creating the new listings table and associating with the user ID. Now it's going to basically rename the homepage to Explore. We give it a couple different steps, but the beauty of this is got autonomous agents to continue to do this work. You won't see anything here because we've got to go update the database based on what we saw in the code. So just clicking apply changes is going to go add that migration and create that table where you can save listings. So think of this like a Google Sheet. We're now just creating a whole nother column that is called listings, and you'd add all that data in there. And let's see. Looks like the page is not rendering. Oh, it is. It just took a second. Sometimes you just got to wait for it to go to space. All right. So we got a host dashboard. We always rename. Looks like we got an issue. And the issue is a host dashboard. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, it looks like there's no route. So it's going to read the error message just as if it was like an engineer looking at this trying to fix it with the code open. It's going to go fix it. So I'll fix the home. It's not defined. Host dashboard component, importing the home icon. Okay, there's a few things that are broken. And this is because the AI just went and did a bunch of stuff it was told to do. It didn't do all the extra stuff it could have done, which is totally fine because treat the robots with kindness.
Yes. And that makes sense. Also, some of the icons may be overlapping. That's something that I realized too with the host dashboard that could be thrown off.
Okay, so it went ahead and this guest on the screen, which is actually not bad. Like manage listings, create listings, like it's already got the same sort of design aesthetic. I'm going to go ahead and it looks like it didn't actually get the Dropbox picture. Let's try to match this design. So noted that, again, it's always going to be better with screenshots than having them open links. This is mobile first, but be sure. And I'm always going to make sure it's going to do desktop friendly experiences. Friendly experience. Cool. And then what we want to do is we want to basically get to the point where we can create a listing and it show up on the explore page. Because once you get to that point, you can figure out all the other stuff. So like I've showed you how to like authentication works. I've showed you the Supabase side just very briefly. I showed you the tables, which we'll see here if we went to the homepage table editor. You've got the only table, which is listings, and it's got like a title, price, etc. If you're like, oh yeah, no, we actually do need to have another thing, which I'd probably say category is missing. Yeah, category is actually missing from this. So we didn't actually give it that detail. We'll want to add that detail as well because that's kind of part of the functionality explore page.
Exactly. Yeah. So then the listing can go in a certain category.
Yeah. So now we have like your listing. Now you don't have any data here in statistics. So we'll probably want it to fake it for you, but it does have some charts for you, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So can you create some fake data for the host dashboard so we can see the charts work? And again, I'm probably going to think through what I'm saying and like how to set it up and get the AI prepared to do at the next step. But because we're chatting, I'm just doing like very one shot type prompting. But you're going to always want to like think through how we did it for here. Just don't forget to add a screenshot of what you're trying to explain if it's going to be a visual experience. It's now generating some mock data here. So that's what we have here to basically show some mock bookings so we can see the charts animate.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Yeah. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel good in terms of, when I create the designs, it actually helps me think out what I want to see, right? And then it focuses me on what that actual page is going to do and what features I may need. So to your point, like having the host dashboard, and that's where you create listings, it makes sense for there to be a button there, and then you click it, and then you can actually make the listings. You can see all the listings there, and then that's the way to actually create the database. So then I can put listings onto the Explorer page. So those are the things in which when I'm looking at the designs, it's in my head, but I haven't set it out and then been able to type it out to give instructions.
What's crazy about this is, okay, we haven't even done like the searches of work right now because we don't have a lot of listings. We want to add categories to the host dashboard new listing section. Yeah, it's interesting. And then we need ability. It had the new listings, but it took it out to make room for your design.
Yeah.
So we'll want to have a new button here probably that says new listing.
Yeah.
In the top nav, we need a new listing button that gives the host the ability to create a new listing. Also need to update the listing table to include category, which is important for search. Be sure that mock data includes categories as well. And the reason for that is like we could make search work now if we also make sure the mock data works and then go say, hey, we want to make search work. So now you're like, you want to get the happy path of, hey, here's a product, sign up. I'm going to mark you as a host. So like you might be the admin or the sort of employee of Plark, which is that now you have a fourth role where you can like manage the table.
Yeah.
I'd probably recommend that you probably just do it like in the database directly. Just like mark them like true as host or whatever it is. But the other thing I probably would do is set up Stripe payments, Stripe being like the payment processor of startup. Instead, like Stripe does a really good job of like when you pay, then you get a role. So go through the payment flow to be a host, or basically put a credit card down so that way something is like we're trading transaction, you've logged in, but also now you want to be a host. It's like your business, but like $80 to kick off the host, like the product, or $500 or whatever it is. Now you're a host. So then you have these host features, and then as a host, you can create listings, which is your play place. Some people, as you know, have multiple of these play places or a conglomerate of this. So then they would have all their listings. And then from there, they should be able to collect payments as well. So then there's more complication of like how your product will work. But I think the benefit of doing this with you and showing you what Bolt does, showing what a little bit of specifically of Supabase with the authentication and the database part, I explained to you Stripe. And then at that point, we're going to apply these changes. At that point, I do want to make sure that we have a working product so you can add a new listing. So that doesn't go anywhere because we didn't explain, hey, create a new listing page.
Yeah.
But we do have Euro listings here. So we can see, and it's actually, you can see it's getting diverged from the desktop experience. So now it's got all full screen, all mobile. But we won't nitpick that because what I want to do is actually get to the point where we'd also see it here. So I just hit the full screen button. And you can guys see this is a mobile experience. So what I probably want you to do is think through like the desktop experience and where things are placed, because the app is going to continue to get mobile screens, which is fine. But you'll want to also, it was perfect here. You want to also be able to have this both experiences working. It'll be much easier if you design both of them. But with that said, we'll stick in the mobile side because it's just going to get stuck with that. I now need a new listing page. And then this will, again, this is going to be, and the next 2 weeks, you'll probably just sit and hammer out this stuff and manipulate it, make it your own. Now I've given you enough to basically, I would love to like take a look at this. And then like, I'm happy to like jump on a call. I'm actually going to be in London next week, but the week after next, happy to jump on a call to see like how far you've gotten.
No, because this makes sense. Because like you said, I first have to think about, I do have to scale it back a little bit for the MVP. And just do certain steps. But some of it can be built, to your point, hosts will be on a paid plan in order to receive payments. So that flow makes sense to me. I was going to go, there's the parent is a free plan, and then, that's a good listing page right there.
Yeah. Again, this is going to go around the internet and be like, hey, what does a listing page look like? Let's just build that. So it works. So you could also do this, which is you have the concept, you've got the green design, you've got like the rounded box corners. Now you just start saying, build me a new page for whatever. You could also do that as well. So like now to be like, hey, make search work. So that way, when we type in like kids place or family center, like it will be able to like filter down to that. So then as you start testing this, because you're going to test this over and over again as a pretend host, add a bunch of listings and you'd be like, cool, let me see if the search filter works. Let me see if this works. Like how does saves work? How does favorites work? So again, I probably would do more typing than this, but for the sake of kind of showing you like the experience, there you go. And then we'll deploy it to Netlify and we'll call it good.
Okay, sounds good. This is very helpful because it makes sense. It makes sense. I have the screens. I know the flow of the host, of the actual users being the parents, and then the other user being the actual Plarker, who's the caregiver, but making that flow work from user first, then
Yeah.
to host, then to caregiver, because the MVP just needs for a user to be able to search and explore listings and someone to have those listings and put those listings up there.
Yeah. And you could also see the 3 users I created when we were just testing it. Here in the database, you could also turn on emails. So like we've got a confirm your sign up email that's not currently sending.
That's in Supabase. Okay.
Yeah. In Supabase, there's a couple other things that probably are not as important for you, but like where you go, this would be like probably useful, like turn on Apple sign in, or if you wanted to do like a Google, log in with your Google account.
Yeah.
Stuff to make it easier to lessen the friction for people to join and check out this product. So these are all the authentication providers that you can leverage. Also, sign up with phone is a big thing, especially if you go mobile first. So to send a text with a number, and then you can create the account that way. Cool. So now we want to be like kids. See, wasn't very specific. This is why you want to basically I probably don't want to remove popular destinations. But this is where it gets complicated, and I'll basically back out of this because like you could technically make search work in 2 separate sections at the same time. So like when we're searching for, I guess this is better because I'm like, oh, I want to do LA for these dates. This is probably how you want to do your search. And then I've got 2 adults, 2 kids, and now I want to search. That's probably how your search wants to work. So I'm going to roll back our search changes because you want to think through what is this experience. I imagine having a map of the Bay Area is going to be super helpful.
Yeah.
But again, this is all stuff that you're going to want to think through, noodle on, and then come back to Bolt for help on.
Yeah, definitely the map is the thing, and it's all geolocation. So it's basically where you are currently, because we're gonna be everywhere, but you're not gonna drive to Florida from California. For a booking.
Yeah, the other thing that you're probably going to want to think about is you might be building 3 different apps. So like we built the host experience directly within the same experience, and like we're managing that. But there's a chance where a host never is going to want to search and explore. But there's also a chance where a Plarker is never going to want to search and explore as a parent. So you're like in the way Uber works is Uber has a driver app and they have a rider app. And the driver app is not the rider app, which you have experience doing DoorDash. I imagine it's like the same thing.
Yep.
Or I don't know what you do, Grubhub, whatever.
Yeah. No.
But basically, there's the apps. Basically, you have a specific app to be the delivery person versus the person who orders. So I'd probably even recommend think through just a separate flow of this is going to be host.plarkinc.com. And this is going to be plarkinc.com, which is going to be the app experience for just the broader internet defined. But if you have a button that's, hey, yeah, I guess I'd advise you basically start from scratch to then think about, okay, do I want to build this one experience altogether? Because you saw how fast in less than 2 hours we were able to get this far. Now, imagine if you had 3 days of one day you're doing the host experience, one day you're doing the Plarker experience, one day you're doing the actual experience, and then you just stitch it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit deploy, because then I'm going to show you how easy this is to get live up in production and get a URL. So just by cutting that deploy button, which also, what I love about Bolt.new, and I'm super happy that they came on as a sponsor for the podcast, is I used to work at Netlify, early investor at Supabase, and now I've got a podcast sponsor with StackBlitz, which is the owner of Bolt. Netlify has now given us a connection to Supabase where I can use the same URL. Brian was it Open Source is what we got to work. And now we're logged in. So we have now this is live on a production URL as well. And this called me out for my bad password. But now we have the experience here. Like we can now create a listing. And now we can actually use this live on our phone. We could use this in a demo on an iPad. Like we're already, at this point, it's production ready. In Netlify, if I were to open this up, this basically, it ships it to Netlify, but I forgot there's a way, you'll have to look at the Bolt instructions. I forgot already. But there's a way to basically go say, hey, you know what it is? I already connected my Netlify account. So if I went to Netlify, which I'll dox myself again, I'll see in my last few deploys that it's already in there. Oh, here we go. Plark. So now this is my deploy. Now I've got another dashboard where I can maintain the hosting. So if I were to go change the domain, it goes domain management, add a domain. You can buy the domain here, but you already have the domain. So I just add the domain that I already own. and then it'd just be like Plark, ink, whatever. So like you got a full end-to-end experience. If the only thing we haven't shown you is how to take payments. So that's for exercise for you after the fact. But I guess, are you ready to go launch this product?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely ready to go launch this product and get it out there in the hands of users.
Cool. Honestly, I appreciate you just coming through and like going through this experience. Like I would definitely think through more about the product, get noodling into Canva. The benefit that you have Canva is that you can now take that design and expand to like whatever you want to do next, but also really hyper focus on like your 3 different experiences between Plarkers and users and host, and which one you want to focus on first. Because once you get that sort of nailed down, then you can start expanding. And I imagine it's the name of the game for you right now is just get as many hosts as possible to leverage this platform. And then once you do that, then you can really hit the streets of getting users or parents.
Yes, yes, it is. So yeah, thank you for walking me through this. And I think I need to do some web first designs.
Yeah, that would be helpful because it was adjusting at the end of that.
Yeah.
And I think what I realized, I was putting in please desktop first, don't break anything. I was being very explicit, but post break, I was getting a little more lazy on how I was prompting.
Okay. Yeah, man. This is great. Yeah, I feel ready to add a few more features through Bolt and really get it out there.
Cool. Excellent. Thanks for coming on American Idol.
Right on.